Professional wrestling is the one true sport. Other sports have their share of intense, dramatic moments, but nothing can compare with professional wrestling. Welcome to Wrestling History X, where three friends come together to talk about the stories behind the matches. I'm Matt.
I weighed 83 pounds in kindergarten.
I am an unmasked American.
Welcome to episode 269, Ground Zero, in your house.
That's the bottom line.
Did someone tell you so?
Shane did.
What?
I like how Shane just outed himself as a anti-masker. We're just kidding, guys.
Yes.
So this is the 17th In Your House, produced by the WWF. It would take place on September 7th, 1997, from the Louisville Gardens in Louisville, Kentucky.
Louisville.
Whoa.
With an attendance of 4,963.
Not great, but Louisville is not a WWF state.
No.
Never has been.
Yeah, that's it's bigger than last week's number in Florida, but
but that's easy.
Ouch.
Can't compare. It is a weak number where, Louisville Gardens is a wrestling building that did well for years in the territory era, which we are far from, and WWF isn't always, even in 97, well remembered because it's not what people grew up on. But as time moves on, people get older and things change. So I'm sure they drew larger numbers in Louisville in later years. But this is a little disappointing for them. Even on an In Your House, you would expect at least a 6.5 or 7,000 people. And this is the first In Your House that is a full-length pay-per-view. By full-length, we mean the 3-hour runtime as opposed to the 2-hour runtime.
But we are in Louisville.
We are.
So Shane, did you do what you do?
Well, yes, I
sure
did.
The hell did.
Yes, I did do what I do. As I typically start this little segment out with, I jumped on...
Trying to do one thing.
Yes, I tried to do one thing, and then I was all excited because we're recording on a different day this week than we normally do, and we're supposed to have all these different options, not any roadblocks that often happen when we record on Sundays. And here we are on a Wednesday, and it just went...
I don't know.
Sorry, I scared the cat. No, it didn't necessarily go...
Dessert was great.
I went for one dessert. The place was not able to deliver that dessert today. No shame to them, though, because it'll be there next time that we need it, and it'll be delicious. But in the meantime, we went with this one, which is not necessarily a Kentucky staple, but it has the elements of what you would typically find or be fond of in Kentucky or a Kentucky dessert. It is a big, luxurious, fluffy, sticky, delicious cake from a place called Whiskey Cake. It is a sticky toffee cake with some whiskey anglaise, some spiced pecans, some homemade vanilla whipped cream. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It's very delicious.
Yeah, it's a big-ass square piece. It's in one of these, meal kit boxes here, and it took up half the entire thing because it is just a brick of cake, but it is light and fluffy and sticky and crunchy and sweet and spicy and just everything.
You know what it tastes like? It tastes like the perfect dessert for a weekend in a nice cabin in the woods.
There you go.
One with power and lights. You're not slumming it.
This is roughing it.
No, this is a pricier Airbnb in the woods.
It's are we talking like a cabin at the Appalachian Mountains or?
Yeah, we're talking
whatever mountains are in Kentucky.
I mean, not necessarily in Kentucky, but like this has a cabin vibes in a good way. It tastes,
Yeah, my original
a dessert.
We're not worried about Richard Jenkins and
No. Well, yeah. Right now we're worried about the FBI because we're at Ruby Ridge, enjoying ourselves.
Damn.
Sorry. I was thinking of cabins in the woods.
My original option was going to be kind of a derby pie, pecan pie with chocolate and all this other stuff added to it. So this one has the elements of it. It's got, I believe there's possibly some chocolate in the cake. If not, that toffee just gives it this nice dark color to it.
Yeah.
As well as the spiced pecans, the whiskey, all that in there.
I'm going to say it. Among the best desserts I've had in a restaurant in Oklahoma.
I agree.
Whiskey Cake is a chain, so let me find out where they at.
They're around the country.
Yeah, I didn't realize
Select
it was a
location.
chain either, even though it's next to the mall.
All right, they are mainly Texas, and then there is Oklahoma City and Tampa.
Okay.
But if you're in Texas, they're in, well, you should probably already know where they are because you're in Texas. But Baybrook, Katy, Las Colinas, Plano, Round Rock, San Antonio, Stafford, and the Woodlands.
So basically suburbs outside of large cities.
Yes, other than San Antonio.
San Antonio is a large city, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's not a suburb.
Yeah. No, yeah, well, San Antonio, yeah.
And then, Oklahoma City, I don't know how we're close to Texas, and we're kind of a food hub.
And there was an empty building next to a
mall.
Next to a mall.
And you know what? I'll take it because it's fucking great.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we've almost devoured this entire piece, but I'm going to do what I do and get a bite prepared to take in front of the microphone. Have you had cake at this house already, Mike?
No.
Here we go. Celebratory. All right. It's going to make noise. Well, it's not going to make noise, but I might make noise because I'm eating it. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. Holy shit. That was a good bite.
It sounded gross, but I'm sure it was wonderful.
Delicious.
If anybody's out there and wants to just make a super cut of Shane taking bites with no words,
Squish.
so gross and so funny.
You can send that to WrestlingHistoX
at gmail.com, or just put it on YouTube and monetize it. You might get 5 cents.
So something that would happen, unfortunately, the day before this show, the world would watch Elton John perform Candle in the Wind.
Version 2.
At Princess Diana's funeral.
That was a tough time.
I have a strong memory of this. It's weird how much people loved Princess Diana. I watched it.
She was the people's princess.
I watched it as a child, and it was weird. It's like, why is my dad bummed out? It's like, I understand Canada being bummed out, but obviously it's sad anytime anybody dies. But
England?
What?
You mean England?
Well, yeah, but Canada still celebrates the royal family.
Okay.
Because I had a friend when I was
confused by that too.
Yeah,
so
sorry. I mean, I just meant people outside of England.
Sorry,
Yeah, but I had a friend when I was a kid, and his mom or maybe his dad, one of his two parents, was from Canada, and they still had reverence for the royal family because it's a thing people in Canada,
I mean,
still under the boot.
Back then, though, that's how it was. I mean, the Diana and Charles's wedding back in the 80s was a big epic celebration all around the world because she was, I mean, we had Queen Elizabeth forever and ever, and then once Diana came along, it was just kind of viewed that she was kind of going to be the next queen down the line, and she had an amazing personality, and she was really humble and personable as opposed to being uptight and snooty. And
she was a good
you see interviews with her where she's all weird and quirky, even while she's supposed to be prim and proper, and she wanted to kind of break the rules in her own way.
Meghan Markle should have watched some tape. But yeah, I do remember that. I mean, this song was huge. It's a great song. I honestly think that this version of the song is better than the previous version of the song, which was for Marilyn Monroe.
Mm-hmm.
But this one, chorus goes harder. It's cleaner. But
Well, he was more mature at that time too. So
yeah. But you guys remember this single, probably the best selling single of all time.
Oh yeah, it was.
Or CD single, but just going into a Walmart, a Circuit City, a Best Buy at this time, there'd just be there would just be 1,000 copies at all times in every fucking store.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yep. Now I remember being out at the lake, at Blue Stem Lake in Nebraska, when the news broke that Princess Diana had died. We were all sitting around a campfire just kind of singing different songs, and I want to say that we were singing American Pie.
Oh.
So it was just kind of weird that song is about death of celebrities or whatnot, and then a famous world known person ended up being...
her boyfriend at the time he didn't survive, right? Dodi Al-Fayed?
No, none of them did.
No.
If you ever look up Dodi Al-Fayed's girlfriend list or people that he dated, man was a slayer. My God.
Womanizer.
He was also, basically a billionaire before anybody was a billionaire.
Yep. Before it was cool. Pretty
crazy. You guys didn't subscribe to the idea that was it an accident, the paparazzi killer, or was it targeted? This conspiracy, or was it just you flew too close to the sun? You were too famous and it was your downfall. Obviously, not to her. Not blaming anybody.
I have a hot take here. I don't understand the fascination with the royal family.
I don't either.
Mm-mm.
I don't either. But this one, it's I can kind of understand.
I'm never oh
yeah,
someone died. It sucks that anyone dies. I'm never
yeah. My biggest enemy could die tomorrow, and I'd still be bummed for their family. It's just because I don't like you doesn't mean I want anything bad to happen to you. But at the same time, it's I didn't understand it either. I remember it's was my dad just bummed because he had a crush on her? It's I see young photos of my mom. She looks just as good or better than Princess Diana. She's a pretty lady, but she's a pretty average pretty lady.
See, my view on the royal family is it was the reality TV or the Real Housewives of wherever.
Yeah.
Before all of those shows started, because it was just.
But you didn't get anything from them. That's the thing.
That's the correct take, though. But why?
But that was before people wanted anything from anybody. Yeah. It was just they admired them for their whatever
the status they were wanting.
I was too young back then, anyway, so I've never really been a royal family follower. But I just remember the vibe around the world.
Even with this whole new. Obviously, Queen Elizabeth passing away, that's sad because she was queen for forever. Mm-hmm. Which, if anyone not watched The Crown on
I've never watched The Crown. I've always meant to.
It's very good.
I love Olivia Colman.
But the whole Meghan Markle, Harry,
yeah,
is that the right one? Yeah. That whole thing.
But they also made an ass of themselves.
It makes no sense to me. I'm just let people fucking live their lives however they want.
Yeah. No, she's a nerd. She thought she was going to get something out of it. And she did. She got a clothing line. That's all she wanted.
He's nowhere close to being king.
Yeah.
5 people have to die before he can be king. So who cares?
No. He's the cool one of them.
But I think the thing with Diana was she's from the outside, and it was a time where there was cable, there was news stations, there was stories to be told. The sanctity of journalism began to dissolve, and we've all seen that completely be invalid at this point, and that was 30 years ago, and it was already working itself that way. So that's kind of the deal. Did you guys see the Kristen Stewart movie?
No, not yet.
The movie is fine. The score
I have issues with Kristen Stewart, so
I like her.
If you can get over that she was in Twilight, she's very, very good.
Yeah,
It has nothing to do with Twilight. It has typically the stuff I've seen her in. She just has this
you're talking
stone,
about
just
yeah.
this
I
not
understand.
stoned.
I understand
But
what you're saying.
yeah,
No,
there's
no,
just something about the expressions that she puts off. It's like I don't want to watch you.
Yeah.
And I don't want you to be Princess Diana. I don't want you to be Snow White or whoever the fuck you were.
I highly suggest Love Lies Bleeding, one of the best movies I've seen so far this year, which she's great in.
Man, I liked her in Panic Room.
Oh yeah, Panic Room rules. What a good movie. But yeah, Princess Diana, rest in peace.
Yes.
I hope you're in a big yacht in the sky with Mr. Doty out
You'll
there.
always be our candle in the wind.
Absolutely.
England's Rose. Okay.
Well, let's talk some Ground Zero.
Do it.
The WWF logo package comes on before a highlight video with narration. Shawn Michaels was once one of the most respected superstars, but his disastrous mistake at SummerSlam changed everything. As we see shots of fans calling the Heartbreak Kid a traitor.
He's a traitor.
Shawn said you're either with him or against him, while the Undertaker told Michaels he'd pay for his crimes. But instead of taking responsibility, HBK fanned the flames by hitting Taker again with a chair. Shawn claimed that he'd take what was coming to him, so the dead man condemned him to hell. And now Michaels and Undertaker will face each other for the very first time.
Basically, Shawn needs to get through Taker to get to Bret. And they did it perfectly. It's not just like, oh, you got to beat this guy to get there. It's like, Shawn busted Taker open.
I mean, before Teddy Long was even here, you get to wrestle the Undertaker.
Pyro goes off in the arena, followed by Vince McMahon welcoming everyone to the show, joined by Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler. They preview the matches before sending us to a video package of Goldust and Brian Pillman's matchup.
It's getting trashy, boys.
Brian claims that the Golden One's daughter is his love child, which they kind of played off the reap that Terry and Pillman actually dated.
Yeah.
Back when they were in WCW.
And they refer to her as Terry.
Yeah. I hate it.
Yep.
While Goldust thought he was done with Brian, but this is no longer about sport. This threatens everything he lives for.
Sad Goldust is so sad.
Mm-hmm. And I hate the word love child.
It's so gross.
Yep.
The Golden One must face the unthinkable and might have to sacrifice the most cherished thing in his life in a match that could separate a mother from her daughter for a whole month.
No, Mommy.
Yeah, this is Terry Runnels, Marlena on a pole.
It's
Woo.
getting the services of a baby doll for a month.
Exactly. It's crazy. Is Vince Russo here yet? This stinks of Vince Russo.
No, it's completely Vince Russo.
I mean, this is... yeah. I mean...
Terry Runnels on a pole. Sounds right.
Yeah, I mean,
So many dirty jokes you could say right there.
Yep.
Absolutely. I mean, I preferred her with her, TI-88, personally.
Yes. Do you remember her name?
Alexandria.
Peppermint Patty.
No.
Peppermint Patty.
Why?
The brand.
Oh, York.
There you go.
Alexandria York.
The
Yeah.
York
I
Foundation.
feel so bad.
Her
It's such a
favorite
crush.
number is 80085.
Boobs.
So we're going to go to our first match. Goldust with Marlena versus Brian Pillman in an indecent proposal match.
Oh, like the movie.
5 years too late on this movie.
I mean, Vince just saw it. And he only caught parts of it on TV while writing at his dining room table with Vince Russo.
If Brian loses, he has to leave the WWF. While if the Golden One loses, Pillman gains the services of Marlena for 30 days.
Yeah, this is tough.
What services does he gain?
I mean, Jerry Lawler's going to tell you all about it as Vince just tries to get him to stop making assault jokes.
Yes.
Goldust jumps Brian as he arrives, brawling in and out of the ring, trading chops, until the Golden One hits an inverted atomic drop, a clothesline, and 13 corner punches.
I love
right.
that.
Fuck your 10.
I mean, he means it.
Mm-hmm.
Pillman answers back with choking, biting, and strikes before bailing to the floor to chase after Marlena. when Goldust would catch him and drop Bryan onto the ring steps. Now back in the ring, the two trade chops when Pillman attempts a Bulldog, only for the Golden One to counter by crotching Bryan on the ropes.
Yeah. You gotta pull those ropes, though.
Now Pillman rolls out to regroup, but Goldust follows to suplex him on the ramp, followed by crotching Bryan on the ring post.
Posted.
And the Golden One starts to work the leg before going for a Bulldog of his own, only for Pillman to block by shoving Goldust off to the mat and firing up with a back body drop for a 2 count.
And, I mean, the crowd is hot, so, like, as silly as the angle is, it's working.
Mm-hmm.
Bryan goes to a rear chin lock to wear down his opponent, but the Golden One counters into an electric chair drop, only to charge into a back elbow, allowing Pillman to climb the turnbuckles, when Goldust would fall into the ropes, causing Bryan to crotch himself once again. The Golden One would then toss Pillman from the top onto a guardrail before calling over Marlena to slap him.
Hell yeah.
Now back in the ring, Goldust takes Bryan up to the top for a superplex, but it's blocked, sending the Golden One face first to the mat. And Pillman would fly off the turnbuckle with a dropkick, only for Goldust to avoid, hurting his ankle, allowing Goldust to nail the curtain call. But Bryan catches the ref with an accidental fist, knocking him down.
Ref bump.
And the Golden One checks on Hebner, so Pillman goes to attack from behind, when Marlena would jump on the apron to distract him. And Bryan goes after her, only for her to swing her purse. But Pillman blocks and takes the purse away, before clocking Goldust with it, for the pin. And the win. Post-match, Marlena goes to check on her husband, but Bryan just drags her backstage, with the Golden One giving chase. And Lawler grabs the purse and finds a brick inside of it.
That's pretty great.
Before we see Pillman stuffing Marlena in his car and driving off as she bangs on the window.
That's pretty gnarly.
She bangs.
There's something so sad about a blown up Goldust, like, running after his wife. She's doing a good job of, selling the fight back.
Oh, yeah.
But
I mean, she got good practice with China, so
yeah,
China picked her up and shook her around and got her ready for little O'Brien to drag her backstage.
Yeah, China either gave her a decade of chiropractor bills or just completely aligned her, one or the other, but nothing in between.
Made that decision. I don't really need these ribs.
Yeah.
Our commentators talk about what just happened when we see Goldust freaking out in his locker room, trashing it and shoving the cameraman out the door.
Poor guy.
I mean, I feel so sad for the Golden One.
We then go to our second match. Brian Christopher versus Scott Putski.
Sexy Brian.
Too sexy.
And the story behind this match is that they had faced each other a few months ago, with Christopher picking up a victory due to Lawler's help.
Oh, yeah, because there's an angle here.
Because they're father and son.
But Jerry Lawler will not admit it.
They would attack Scott, bringing out Ivan to team up with his son. And the two families would have several run-ins over the next few months leading up to this matchup. Even though, as you said, the king doesn't claim Christopher.
No. And this is where, like, I know we watched Raw recently, and I was like, Scott Putski, like, looks great, but this kid looks like $1 million. We're not cutting to the back right now. My God. He's chiseled.
So Putski controls early on with clotheslines, hip tosses, and drop kicks, forcing Brian to regroup on the outside, where he argues with fans. And back in, Scott keeps up the attack with arm drags, but Christopher fires back with a clothesline and turnbuckle smashes, before a body slam and heading up top for a double axe handle, only for Putski to catch Brian on the way down with a shot to the midsection. And Scott follows up with a Hurricanrana for a 2 count, but Christopher responds with a full Nelson facebuster. Putski again rallies with a clothesline, goes for a body slam, only for Brian to float over and deliver a German suplex, followed by tossing Scott out to the floor.
That's my boy.
Christopher then leaps over the ropes with a slingshot crossbody, but Putski can't get up, forcing the ref to call for the bell as his kneecap was in his thigh. His kneecap literally became dislocated and floated up into his thigh.
See, I was trying to figure out if that's what had actually happened or not while I was watching it, because I could not remember, but ow.
It's like they
Fuck.
Yeah, pretty brutal. But both these guys brought it. They both look very good, but Putski looks like a star. He ain't gonna be.
Nope.
And Brian Christopher, not a star, but he will be the king of Sunday Night Heat at some point, or one of the princes of Sunday Night Heat.
He kind of has not necessarily a star-making performance, but I mean
he's a supporting role the entire time.
Yeah,
he's a supporting role, but
he's gonna be in the spotlight.
Yeah. There's people who only watched wrestling for a year, but they remember the name. That will not be used right now. We'll save it for later. Yeah.
Sorry, wrong gimmick.
Post-match, Lawler joins his son in the ring where they celebrate.
It's not a son.
Telling the officials to take Scott to a hospital. A big building with patients.
I guess the building has patients. It might be the joke. Like, not people that need help, but patients as in, like, I don't know how to describe patient, as in being patient. But it is pretty brutal, and Lawler's great here at just making fun of a man that's laying down in pain. It's not cool, but that's why it's cool.
Vince sounds concerned as they stretcher Putski to the back before sending it to a video package about some faction action. We see clips of the gang wars, various brawls, when Faarooq says he's sick of being told how to do his interviews. He's going to do what he wants, when he wants, vowing to take out Crush and Savio tonight, followed by asking the nation how they'll do it. And they respond with, by any means necessary. We get more clips of the gang fights before going to the Los Boricuas, who say they give their blood, sweat, and tears, with Vega holding an axe handle, but no axe, as he speaks, followed by going to Crush, who says that this isn't a triple threat match. It's a double promise to ride his bike straight up their asses.
God, you suck. Oh, I hate this dude.
I totally expected him to say triple promise.
I do love, I think you're like, well, there's no accent. It's like, but it's one of my issues with like the baseball bat in wrestling. It's like, you can't hit somebody with that because you're going to kill them. One hit with a baseball bat, somebody has to go to the hospital. Axe handle is like, well, you can't have the blade on it, but you can beat somebody's knee out with an axe handle.
Yeah.
So we go to our third match. Savio Vega versus Faarooq versus Crush.
Is this our first triple threat?
And a triple threat match. JR goes over the rules of the match, reminding us all that this is a new match type at the time. And I actually looked it up, and it was only the second one ever in WWF.
Do you remember what the first one was?
It was like Shawn. It was like a dark match of some sort.
Oh, okay,
They had done probably at a Raw, probably to test it out. Type thing.
But it's one of those things like, oh well, I believe it was Smoky Mountain that started it, and then ECW used it a lot, and now we have too many.
ECW does the three-way dance, which there's elimination.
Okay,
this is the first triple threat.
All right,
where
slightly different.
One fall to the finish.
Yes.
Okay.
But they took the name of the faction, ECW, and named their style of match after it instead.
Okay. I was like, wait, where's it going? It's like, oh yeah, triple threat.
But yeah. I wonder who it was. Shawn. Must be Shawn, Mankind, and Undertaker. After I was just talking about how the three of them style so well together.
Yeah.
So how many triple threat matches? I mean, this is cage match, so I feel like there's some missing. How many triple threat matches do you think there's been?
Oh, shit.
Like 3,000? Are we counting like? I mean, shit. I'm gonna go with 3,500.
Are we talking like all of wrestling or just WWF?
All of wrestling, you can put it to fucking 11,000. I mean, you're doing all of wrestling. We're talking Joshi. That's all triple threat matches.
No, so I don't know all that stuff.
I don't know either.
365.
That's it.
Okay.
One for every day. That's the next podcast when we decide to solve this one. Watch
Okay, so I
every
guess
triple
it's,
threat match. One of my least favorite kind of matches.
Goldust, Hunter, and Owen.
Okay. I mean, still three good ones to start it off with.
Absolutely.
It was 3 months earlier. It was on a Raw, and it won the dark match, actually.
Who won?
Bret.
No, Bret wasn't it.
Owen did. It was for the Intercontinental title.
I thought you said Bret,
okay.
Owen, and Goldust.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Triple H.
Triple H.
Hunter. I said Hunter.
Okay. The first live headline match I saw was a house show, and it was a 4-way dance. It's 4 people.
So I'm trying to remember the very first. I want to say the very first wrestling match that I saw.
Okay, I'm just talking about like the show. I don't remember the earlier one, but like the main event of the first show I saw.
Oh, the main event of the first one I saw was supposed to be Warrior and Andre, but they had it like right after the halfway intermission bathroom break. Back when they used to do intermissions on the house show. I don't know if they still do or not, but people were out getting beers and stuff because there was nothing happening, and then all of a sudden Warrior's music plays because Andre doesn't have music, so he was already down on the ring. And Warrior's music played. People started rushing back to their seats. Before they could get back to their seats, the match was over because he came in, ran the ropes, did a shoulder block, knocked Andre down, splashed him, and he was done within 15 seconds.
Brutal.
Yep. It's like, and there's your main event.
So you went to that before this Tuesday in Texas?
Tuesday in Texas was the first pay-per-view that I bought.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The first house show that I went to, the first match I saw, I want to say was Dino Bravo and Ronnie Garvin.
Hell yeah. That rules.
Strong man. Strongest man, actually.
Yeah, I mean, Owen Hart obviously remembered that as he been talking about slammies for 5 years.
So the brawl breaks out as soon as all 3 men are in the ring, with Crush being taken down to the mat, only for him to duck a double back elbow and nail a double clothesline. Faarooq avoids a charge in the corner, so Savio cradles up the big man for a 2 count as the militant breaks it up.
Every time Crush comes down to the ring in his motorcycle, I just think about how jealous Undertaker is, and I kind of smile to myself.
Yeah, we know who won that war.
Yeah, we all know that.
Faarooq takes a belt off and begins to whip his opponents, only for Crush to just rip it away from him and return fire, until Vega leaps into the fray with a forearm, a turnbuckle smash, and a double noggin knocker. The big man responds with a hip toss of Savio, making a cover for a near fall, followed by Faarooq making one as well for a 2 count. And the militant checks the carburetor of Crush to send him out to regroup, before turning his attention to Vega to deliver a spine buster for a near fall.
I do love a Ron Simmons spine buster.
It's one of the better ones.
Yep.
He plants them. It's clean.
Faarooq then telegraphs a back body drop, allowing Savio to faceplanting when the big man returns to the ring to hit a power slam on the militant for a 2 count. And the trio trades strikes on their knees until Crush treats his opponents to a double noggin knocker for a near fall, as all the pin attempts just keep getting broken up. Vega with a roundhouse kick to the big man, turnbuckle smash and chops to Faarooq, but then runs into a big boot in the corner, only for Crush to come back to choke the militant across the ropes. The big man goes to the floor to regroup, leaving Savio to keep up the attack on Faarooq, when he goes for a running splash, only for the militant to get his knees up. Crush comes back in and tosses Faarooq out to the floor, followed by applying a rear chinlock, which Ross correctly calls him out for the logic of this maneuver in the triple threat match. Faarooq climbs to the top and he breaks up the hold with a diving headbutt to the back of the big man, before working over that back, until Crush lifts the militant up in the air for an electric chair drop, with Vega making a cover for a 2 count. Savio hits a drop kick, turnbuckle smash, and mounted punches to the big man, only for him to break it up with an inverted atomic drop and a clothesline for a near fall. And Faarooq again telegraphs a back body drop to Vega, who goes for a swinging neckbreaker, but the militant bumps the wrong direction.
He sure does. I got a kick out of it.
Crush and Faarooq then begin working together to punish Savio with a backbreaker and a double vertical suplex, followed by both men making a cover, but the ref won't count it, with Vince telling us that it's an illegal pin.
I do love that, like, hey, let's just do it together.
Let's both win.
Like, wrong company, guys.
I mean, I think that this match is really well put together.
It is.
It's
just
three guys that nobody cares about, but I think they're all doing a great job.
Yeah.
Except for that LOL moment where somebody bumps the wrong direction.
Yes, but the LOL moment came from the two guys that I prefer.
They toss Vega to the outside so they can attack each other with backbreakers and power slams, only for Savio to come in long enough to break up the pin before being tossed back out to the floor. And Crush changes his mind and starts working with Vega, nailing a spike piledriver to Faarooq, only for the big man to clothesline Savio out to the floor before delivering the heart punch to the militant. Vega would then crawl his way back into the ring to hit a spinning heel kick to Crush for the pin and the win.
Suck it, Crush.
I mean, I felt it's like, well, there's two heels and a face. I feel like the face is going to win.
The Crush lost. He's the face.
Is Crush the face?
Crush the face.
I feel like Savio is still the face because in my
We're
head.
in the WWF.
I know.
White people are the faces.
Yeah, but Savio feels like a face
But
still.
the reason he doesn't win is because Vince doesn't want people to think that he's racist.
But either way, in my mind, Savio is the face because Savio's just always been a face. Even in, like, he doesn't
heel for forever.
I know, but he doesn't feel like a heel.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't work like a heel. He works the same way every time.
It's because, well, no, I was going to say it's because he's been fighting with Stone Cold, but now he fought with Stone Cold.
Yeah,
when he was
like
a
2
face.
years. But this was a couple minutes too long, but I thought it was good. To the heart punch, though. We hate it. We think it stinks.
Mm-hmm.
This is the only time the heart punch has ever looked good. I think it looked good. Maybe it was the angle, but like, I think it looked very good here for a
it's just
move
because
that
we
is
haven't
stupid.
seen it in a long time.
No, it looked good. I promise. Keep an eye, guys.
No, because that means I'd have to watch Crush.
No, I mean, don't go. I'm just saying.
I will say that I liked that it wasn't kick someone out of the ring, two people fight.
Yeah.
Until someone, like, they did that. But also, I hate pin attempts just being broken up over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just let someone kick out.
I do as well, but that's one of my big issue with triple threat matches. But this is an early one, and I think considering these guys don't have any experience or anything to work off of, they did a very good job.
I'll agree that the layout of the match is good.
Yes.
But the match is not good.
No three-way, no triple threats. Very few.
No match with Crush is going to be good.
Nope.
You gotta tier it. It's good for a match that involves Crush.
Can't agree with that.
Come on.
Big Man then sends us to a commercial for a VHS release called Stone Cold Said So.
Can you believe it? They're already putting out comps of Stone Cold moments.
On VHS, baby.
You can witness all the Stone Cold fury they won't show you on TV if you call now. See Steve Austin uncensored. Want to see that bathing suit shot, bro?
That's right.
They're already making that SCSA money.
Back in the arena, JR points out that the U.S. boxing team's in the crowd.
Woo!
And those are some bad seats they got.
Man, it's kind of sad, too. And you've got
actual fighters.
Well, no, I mean, like, 4,600 people in this arena. I don't know, auditorium. I don't know how many people it seats, but you figure you got your...
It's probably pretty full, actually.
Is it? Okay.
It's Louisville. You have to think of it. It's an older building, and it was built. The population was probably smaller, so 6,000 is probably the max, I bet.
So we go to our fourth match.
We do.
El Torito versus Max Mini.
El Torito. Didn't he make a comeback, or did they just use the name?
Well, we saw Torito at the AAA When Worlds Collide show, episode 134, as Espetrito.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's El Torito because he's a small bull.
Oh, yeah, he's a mini bull.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I just mean, there was somebody, a tag team in the last few years in the WWE that had a little bull with
The
them.
Conquistadors?
No. Just in the last couple of years.
No.
I
What, that when the Edge and them coming out of the Conquistadors?
No. Because that was like 20-something years ago. This
Isn't
was
there
just like
the
a couple
Lucha
years
House
ago.
Party guys?
Yeah, but there was a little bull that was involved with their team too, and I swear that was the name was El Torito.
It might have been.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. He made a comeback.
But yeah, this is
Well,
wild.
if you're saying in the last few years, then technically, that's when he made the
Like,
comeback.
In today.
No.
Today's
Okay.
time, not in podcast time.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, how is this a comeback for
Yeah, in the current timeline, yeah. But yeah, I didn't realize that Torito was a little person until he was in the ring, because like he's like a dwarf, not a midget. So like the size difference between Torito and Max Mini is wild. It's crazy. Max Mini is like a third of the size, and Torito is still not
it's
a
like
large
Rey
man.
Mysterio versus Big Show.
Yeah, it's crazy. But
in midget wrestling.
Yeah, it's wild.
To not be offensive.
We'll see that match one day.
And this is where I'm like, what is going on with this show? There's a nobody match, Brian Christopher and Scott Putski.
The light heavyweight division.
And a midget match in the first hour.
Because there is no mid-card in the WWF.
Not right. And
they now have a 3-hour.
And this is the issue. We don't need...
And your Intercontinental Champion and your Tag Team Champion is hurt.
Yeah. We don't have the people for a 3-hour in your house at the moment. And this is the things that fill it
up.
up.
If Austin wasn't hurt, there would be.
I mean, you know.
They haven't figured out yet they're going to figure out here soon that, hey, how about we have Mankind have a match here, and then we'll have Dude Love have a match over here, and then, what if we have Cactus Jack have a match over here?
Yeah. They're just, fucking, yeah.
They're gonna find a way to fill that time with quality stuff, but we have to suffer through it first.
Yeah, they're pimping our
We watch
boy
it, so
out.
you don't have to.
Exactly. But it's just funny because it's like, this seems so out of character for what we have been doing, and it's like, shouldn't this be happening in like 91, 88?
Nope.
Yeah,
1997.
Like you guys, yeah. It's a slight jump the shark moment. I know they course correct as they create more stars, but it's just funny.
Bischoff brought out the cruiserweights and the luchas, so Vince had to reach into his pocket and what else can we have in here? We can't do women because he got burned on the women's division.
Well, I was going to say by this time next year it'll be women's instead of midgets.
Yes.
Yeah. I know. I mean, he dabbled in lucha, but I think he was just like, fuck this. He didn't want to give it the time. And all the great light heavyweights are already working in Japan or WCW or both. So it's like, well, that's where all the good ones are, and they took the time where it took like a year or two for people to start to get over and for it to actually mean something. And it's finally getting to that point.
So is Scott Putski supposed to be the first light heavyweight champion?
No.
Okay.
He was just supposed to be in the division.
All right. I didn't know if that was their...
To build it out.
We're going to build this division around you because you're a Hall of Famer, son.
No, he's supposed to be Great Sasuke.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about him.
Yep. But that didn't work out.
Nope.
Oops.
He opened his mouth.
Yes.
That's what I'm not talking.
So our two competitors trade takedowns when Max would send El Torito to the outside with a tilt-a-whirl head scissors, followed by a somersault plancha onto him at ringside. They return to the ring where Torito takes control with a big boot and body slams, but he misses a senton, leading the two to work the arm of each other, until El Torito bites the keister of Minnie. Torito does the biting several more times when Max does it to the ref to show him what's happening, leading to Jack Doan chasing Minnie around the ring until he slides out to sit on Lawler's lap, putting on his crown, causing the crowd to chant, "Jerry's kid."
That's the crowd is the funniest thing that's happened so far, because what you're explaining is comedy that would have worked in 1982.
Back in the ring, El Torito with another big boot, a body slam, and a senton before going into a knuckle lock, which Max counters into a hurricanrana for a 2 count. And Torito responds with a power bomb and telegraphed back body drop, allowing many to nail a sunset flip for a near fall, followed by the pair trading more pin attempts for 2 counts. They go back and forth with arm drags that ends up sending El Torito to the floor, where Max flies out with an Asai moonsault onto him. Minnie then evades Torito's charge into a corner once back in the ring and climbs to the top, coming off with a flying head scissors, followed by a victory roll. But El Torito is able to roll through before Max catches another telegraph back body drop with a sunset flip for the pin and the win.
Must say, both these men are very athletic, but who cares?
Who cares? But Max Minnie was very entertaining.
He was. I mean, like I said, both these guys look great in the ring and whatnot, but it's just like nothing for me to bite into.
He's 87 pounds.
Yeah, somebody, find me a ref's ass.
Vince sends us to footage of Steve Austin, where we see the tombstone from Owen at SummerSlam, followed by Sergeant Slaughter claiming Stone Cold had more guts than brains, as he won't listen to doctors. So Sarge suspends Austin until he finishes rehab on his neck, forcing him to vacate his half of the tag team titles. And we come back to the arena with Slaughter and Jim Ross in the ring, where Sarge says he owes it to the fans to do his job, and that's in order, before welcoming Dude Love to the ring. And Foley knows he can't defend the belts alone, so he vacates the title with a heavy heart and a pained pancreas.
Ow, my pancreas.
It hurts.
Stone Cold then joins them, flipping off JR and getting in Slaughter's face. And while Ross speaks, until Austin tells him to just blow it out his ass.
Mm-hmm.
Stone Cold continues by telling McMahon to knock the stupid look off his face before he stomps him, followed by returning his attention to Sarge to tell him to stop showing footage of his injury.
I mean, it's great when they show
Please quit showing us.
I mean, the edit game is strong, but they just show it 7 times in a row before this is not good. This is a little much, but played into the angle, so I'm not mad anymore.
Austin tosses the tag belt on the mat, and as Slaughter reaches down to retrieve it, Stone Cold tells him to drop and give him 20.
You big piece of trash.
And Sarge leaves the ring with belt in hand when Ross would try to interview Austin, telling him that everyone wants him back 100% and wishes him well. But Stone Cold doesn't care, as in the middle of answering the comments, Austin just delivers a stoner to JR. Dude Love can't believe his eyes, but the fans love it, only for Slaughter to return to get Stone Cold to leave, forcing Foley to hold back Austin from doing anything more than flipping off Sarge and head backstage. Officials then help Ross to the back before we go backstage for a Doc Hendricks interview with Owen Hart and British Bulldog. And Doc says Owen must be scared of Stone Cold, only for Hart to think it's a load of crap, that the WWF should fine, suspend, and arrest Austin. Owen continues that they will win the tag titles because they're the best.
I would say I can't disagree with Owen here. He just assaulted JR, who only had his best interests in mind. It's that's totally illegal.
Followed by Davey Boy saying JR didn't deserve that, even though he's from Oklahoma.
Boo.
Bitch!
Bulldog also promises to be behind Hart whenever his rematch with Stone Cold happens. We then go back to the commentators where Vince calls Austin a jackass and that they are trying to protect Stone Cold from himself, but he just won't listen.
He's a white trash king. We love him.
So we go to our 5th match, the Headbangers of Mosh and Thrasher versus the Godwinns of Henry O and Phineas I. Godwinn versus Owen Hart and the British Bulldog versus the Legion of Doom of Road Warrior Hawk and Road Warrior Animal in a 4-way elimination match for the WWF Tag Team Championships. And as each team enters, we go to previously recorded comments made by them. We see the Headbangers talk about partying with Marilyn Manson at the MTV Music Awards, but it's nothing compared to the party they'll have after winning. The Godwinns say Austin isn't as dumb as they thought he was. He bowed out of the match, followed by Pig telling LOD they should have done the same. Before Hogg says the Road Warriors won't regret ever crossing the Mason-Dixon line.
You'll be sorry.
Next is Legion of Doom with Michael Cole, where they remind everybody it's been 6 years since they last held the belts.
Damn.
With Animal saying you achieve nothing until you're the WWF Tag Champs. That they're tired of the Godwinns and their buckets, so if they bring them into the ring, Animal is going to stick them where the sun don't shine. And Hawk then takes the threat even further by saying he'll take the Godwinns' butts and stick them in the buckets and turn it into a lifetime latrine. Ooh, what a rush!
I mean, he could have just stuck to "Ooh, what a rush." That other line was a little convoluted. But hey, we love him anyway.
Wow.
Lifetime latrine.
So Thrasher and Henry start us off with the headbanger being manhandled until Thrasher ducks a clothesline to roll up Hogg for a 2 count, followed by tagging in Phineas to make the Godwinns fight each other. But instead, Mosh gets in the ring to face off with Pig, taking him down with multiple arm drags and a second rope clothesline from Thrasher. Animal's tagged in to hit a leaping elbow drop to Phineas, who rolls out to regroup, before returning to the ring for Henry and the Road Warrior to go back and forth, with neither gaining an advantage. So Hogg tags in Mosh as Owen does a chicken dance on the apron.
Love him.
Legion of Doom with power slams, flying clotheslines, and press slams on the headbanger before Hawk reaches out to tag Bulldog, but he refuses. So the Road Warrior just slaps him in the face to force the tag.
I mean, yeah, it's really fun that they're like, all right, well, we're just going to sit this one out. It's like, no, you're not.
Davey Boy goes into a test of strength with Pig until he kicks the gut, allowing Owen to fly in with a double axe handle, only to be whipped into the Godwinns' corner to be worked over, followed by a press slam for a 2 count.
This doesn't seem like a fair test there with Davey and Phineas.
Phineas is big.
I mean, it's probably the closest one out of everybody that's in this match.
So I thought Henry would be the bigger one.
I mean, yeah, I guess Henry is probably a little bit bigger.
They're pretty, similar size.
Henry's burlier, but
yeah,
maybe
Pig
Phineas
might be a little taller, yeah. But it's kind of like, well, Hawk and Animal. It's like, well, I wouldn't want to get punched by either one of them, but maybe I'll take the shorter one. I don't really know.
Henry telegraphs a back body drop, but catches Hart going for a kick, only for Owen to counter it into an enziguri for a near fall. Hart tags in Animal, who charges at Hawk, but he ducks, sending the Road Warrior crashing out to the floor, where Phineas gets a few stomps in before dragging him back in for a jawbreaker.
LOD. I mean, the LOD pop at the beginning of this match, it's like, fuck. They're just kind of still untouchable in a way. Mm-hmm. It's just, they're synonymous with tag team wrestling, as they should be.
The Godwinns are working over Animal in a corner with double teaming before Pig comes off the second rope with a splash. But the Road Warrior gets a boot up to the chin, allowing Animal to crawl to the corner for the
medium
hot tag. Hawk with clotheslines to both Godwinns, knocks Hart and Bulldog off the apron, followed by Animal trying to lift Phineas up for the Doomsday device, only for Henry to knock Animal away. Hawk then comes off the top anyways with a double axe handle, but Pig catches him in the gut before the Godwinns can grab their slop buckets and look to use them, only for Animal to kick them away, pick the buckets up himself, and attack the Godwinns over the head with it, causing a disqualification and an elimination.
Tisk, 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 Animal.
So Legion of Doom are out of this match.
I do love, there's a moment here where, like, hey, before this disqualification, shit just gets wild, and there's only one ref, and he sells how out of control everything is, and, like, he can't keep up, so he's like, fuck it, you're out. But the lead up to that moment is, like, really well done. It's the little things. They add up.
The ref finally gets them out of the ring, so Mosh jumps in to keep up the attack on Phineas, followed by Thrasher super front suplexing Mosh onto Pig for a 2 count. Phineas rolls out to regroup, only for Thrasher to leap off Mosh's back with a somersault plancha out onto it. Now back in the ring, Thrasher has his whip reversed, so Hogg low bridges the ropes, causing the Headbanger to fall out to the floor. Thrasher's then rolled back in where the Godwinns double teaming with a double back body drop before trying for another, only for Thrasher to sunset flip over Henry for the pin to eliminate the Godwinns.
We're down to 2 teams.
Owen jumps in the ring to nail a gut-wrench suplex and a leg drop on Thrasher before throwing him into their corner to double teaming. And Davey Boy comes in to deliver a back elbow and a stalling suplex, followed by Hart flying in with a missile dropkick for a 2 count.
I love that up to the point that it's only Headbangers and the Hart Foundation tag team, that the Hart Foundation of Owen Hart and Bulldog at this point have done nothing in this match.
Nope.
So it's just like, oh, we're just going to chill. As fresh as can be.
The Headbanger ducks a clothesline and bounces off the ropes with a crossbody for a near fall. But Owen is right back on the attack with a neckbreaker for a 2 count. And Bulldog tags back in for some double teaming, but he misses a clothesline with Thrasher trying for a crucifix pin, which they botch.
Yep.
But does allow the Headbanger to make the hot tag.
I'm doing that with air quotes.
Mosh cleans house with back body drops, right hands and drop kicks, but a reversed whip sends him to the ropes where Owen trips him up from the outside, allowing Davey Boy to hold Mosh for a Hart wheel kick, only for the Headbanger to move in time, sending the Bulldog to the floor. And Thrasher climbs to the top to set up for the stage dive, but he pauses long enough for Davey Boy to recover, or sits there and waits for him, pulling the Headbanger down, where they start to brawl, while Owen has back body dropped Mosh and begins to lock in the sharpshooter. All of a sudden, Austin runs down to the ring, delivers a stunner to Hart, allowing Mosh to make the cover for the pin and the win. And new! Post-match, the Headbangers climb into the crowd to celebrate, while Owen and Bulldog storm to the back, looking for Stone Cold.
Good times.
I mean, yeah, it's one of those things where I was like, okay, I didn't expect the Headbangers to win, but it totally makes sense. They don't have to hold it for long, but we know that these titles are in a weird spot, and if somebody beats them on a Raw, that's a fun moment, and you can beat the Headbangers on Raw. You don't want to beat LOD on Raw.
And they now officially have more tag team titles in the WWF than the Bushwhackers had.
Oh, Bushwhackers
Never
had the championship.
Rockers? No, never. I mean,
Really?
They had their almost, but then they got taken away the day or night after they won them.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, it's also funny because the Bushwhackers were like an ass-kicking team
Before they came to the WWF.
Yeah, as the sheep herders or whatever, and then they came in and they're like, okay, well, we're just going to be cartoon characters and we'll make some money.
We're just from New Zealand. Oi.
Yeah.
We get the Cause Stone Cold Said So commercial again, but we come back to the Headbangers celebration, continuing at the concession stand, where they buy burritos and hot dogs for fans.
See? Look at that.
It's pretty fun. I think that just the kids in the crowd are just excited to be around them in the walkways of the arena. So, you know, it's got some fun energy.
Back to the commentators, Lawler is at a loss for words, saying Slaughter should do something about this, before going backstage, where JR is telling Sarge, you can't trust Austin. Sure, he's popular, but he can kiss Ross's 316 ass.
I know, JR is pissed, he's selling it well, and JR cursing. You know he means it.
Ross continues that if this happens again, he'll quit, because he didn't come here to get beat up, with Slaughter promising to do something about it. Vincent sends us to a video package about our next match, where narration says the Patriot's patriotism, ironically and paradoxically, fueled his hatred and respect for Bret Hart.
Jeez words.
I know. My God. What a convoluted sentence.
An interview follows where the Patriot, without his mask on so they never show his face, goes on about how the Hitman can have his opinion, but he made his fame and fortune in this country, so someone needed to make a stand.
You don't like it, get out.
The Patriot realized that put a target on his back, but he's prepared, because he beat Bret once, so that means it can happen again. We then go live to Sonny in the back with the Patriot, where he reiterates his belief that he can win again.
He did it once.
But he wants to know where he has his family stashed, because if they stick their noses in the match, he'll flatten them.
Their noses or just the family itself?
Probably both, because it is Owen's nose.
It's a pointy nose.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Cole is then with Hart, who says that the Hitman is going into enemy territory without a friend. But Bret reminds him what the title belt says. World Wrestling Federation, not the American Federation.
Love that.
It's also fun that Bret's taking that angle, but they've been adding the in 7 countries and blah, 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 worldwide. It's like, yeah, just calculated. Just do it well when they want to do it well.
But it still took them until 2024 to really run any actual pay-per-views outside of the country.
Well, didn't we have the Baby Boy Bret Hart? That was a pay-per-view, right?
It's the only one.
1992.
Yeah, I guess they had they just do the house show tours.
Until they got Saudi money, and then they started to run those.
Yeah.
They did the Australian one.
Yeah.
But now they're actually running real pay-per-views.
Yeah. Because when Bret first started as the heel, it wasn't a pay-per-view, but they did the German tour, and they had the crummy, like, cheap video footage, but just to show an angle or whatever. Because remember, was it Skandar Akbar who they brought in at first when Bret turned?
I don't remember.
Yeah, it was one of the, like,
I can't remember.
brown guy heels.
Well, that was the Truth Commission guy.
Okay.
Is that who you're thinking about on that Raw that we watched?
Yeah, there was that, but I think there was maybe another one at the Germany show, which is similar time.
No.
But the thing is nobody remembers because obviously it wasn't the greatest idea.
No, they wanted everybody to forget.
Hart says it's fine if he doesn't have any American fans anymore. They don't know what a hero is. Before saying that what he does in this match, he does to the fans. As they turn their back on him, so he'll give the Patriot one shot for every one of them. That's a lot of shots.
Mm-hmm.
So we go to our 6th match. The Patriot versus Bret Hitman Hart for the WWF Championship. And the story behind this match was that the masked American had earned his shot with a surprise win over Bret, followed by the Hart Foundation continuously attacking him over the next few weeks, including a match the Patriot had with Vader. And the Hitman had draped the Canadian flag over the masked American, which the Mastodon took exception to, ripping it away and breaking the flagpole. Vader would then face Bret in a match, leading to the Patriot having to make a save from the Foundation as well.
It is funny. It's like, oh, Bret's got family, friends, he's got a group. Patriot is a man without a country, and all he talks about is his country. All he has is the fans, I guess.
And he's turned to Vader.
Yeah.
And Ken Shamrock, who last I saw hated each other.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
Any of my friends is mine, or whatever.
Bret jumps the masked American after entering the ring, working him over with strikes, rope breaks, back suplexes, and placing the Patriot in a tree of woe for chokes. And the masked American answers with clotheslines, headbutts, and dropkicks that send the Hitman out to the floor where he regroups. But when Hart returns, Patriot keeps up the attack by working the arm for a while. And Bret finally responds by going after the masked American's leg, using a spinning toe hold and a ring post figure 4, until the ref forces him to break it, leading to the Hitman to yell at McMahon. Now back in the ring, Hart continues the punishment with headbutts to the small of the back, when the British Bulldog would come down to ringside.
And we just get Austin chants. It's like, that's all anybody wants.
Bret with a Russian leg sweep and a backbreaker for a 2 count, before attempting a vertical suplex, only for the Patriot to block and reverse into one of his own, followed by kicks, forearms, and a sunset flip for a near fall. And the Masked American nails the DDT for a 2 count, but he then charges into a big boot in a corner, allowing the Hitman to go for a second rope axe handle, only for the Patriot to hit him in the gut on his way down. And the Masked American goes to run the ropes, only for Davey Boy to trip him up from the floor, allowing Hart to O'Connor roll him up for a near fall, followed by the Patriot shoulder blocking Bret into his brother-in-law, who had just jumped on the apron. And the Patriot cradles up the Hitman for a 2 count before delivering the Uncle Slam for the pin. And no, Bulldog pulls Hart out of the ring.
You think, like Bret's gonna fucking take a 3 count to an Uncle Slam.
The Masked American begins to stalk after Davey Boy when Vader would make his way down to help, with everyone brawling, leading to the Mastodon throwing Bret into the ring steps. The Hitman would get rolled back in, with the ref allowing the match to continue, but does send Vader and the British Bulldog to the back. And Hart isn't happy about the non-DQ, so he starts arguing with the ref, allowing the Masked American to hit a big boot, a body slam, and a Patriot missile for the pin. And no, Bret kicks out. The Masked American then hits an atomic drop right into a back suplex for a 2 count. But the Hitman responds with a hot shot across the ropes, before also delivering a Bulldog and a second rope elbow drop for a near fall.
Giving it to him.
The two trade strikes in a corner when the ref catches an elbow as the Patriot winds up for a haymaker.
Ref bump.
But the Masked American continues with another Uncle Slam for the pin. And no! Hart gets a boot on the ropes.
Close.
But we don't even have a ref, do we?
He does. Yeah.
Oh, he gets there? Okay.
Yeah,
slow to the count.
It was just a slight bump to the nose. The two bump heads as they run the ropes for a double KO, but after making it to their feet, they trade roll-ups for 2 counts, followed by a sternum first whip into the turnbuckle by the Patriot. The Masked American then locks in the sharpshooter, only for Bret to reverse it into a sharpshooter of his own for the submission and the win. Post-match, the Hitman attacks the Patriot more, with stomps, a pile driver, and right hands.
I love it.
Before snapping the American flagpole and using it to choke the Masked American. And officials try to stop him, but Hart just continues, even punching away Pat Patterson.
My God.
Until finally leading to the back, where Michael Cole stops him for a word, saying the war with America may start all over again, with the Hitman asking what he means, calling all American wrestlers losers.
Hell yeah.
And Bulldog is there, and he says Canada and the United Kingdom are the only winners. And Hart claims they respect great wrestlers in the UK.
There's a moment...
Hey guys, wonder where their next pay-per-view is.
There's a moment when he breaks the flagpole.
Mm-hmm.
There's just a lady that screams in the crowd, and I laughed so hard. It was so wild. Just like, what a crazy response. But I mean, when
that was her Uncle Slam's flag.
Yeah,
flag.
But this is working pretty well when there's 4,000 people here, and Patriot goes to put on the sharpshooter on Bret, and the crowd kind of goes nuts.
I mean, you know where those hardcore American Patriots are, is in those Louisville, exactly. Those small town,
not the deep north.
No. But I mean, the match was better than expected.
I mean, it's a Bret Hart
but
match.
At the same time, it's like, well, who thought Patriot would win? But he didn't make a fool of himself.
No.
But Bret probably wouldn't say yes to a match where he didn't think he could pull it off.
No. I mean, he doesn't say yes unless he gets his way. We'll find that out the hard way here shortly.
Vince sends us to a video package with narration about our main event. The Undertaker has preserved through physical and mental punishment, and despite all the torture, he has controlled his rage. Taker says he stood up for what he believed in, living behind the death mask to his torment. But Shawn Michaels has challenged the dead man's patience and reshaped his desire.
They're even humanizing the Undertaker?
The Heartbreak Kid says he's irritating because it causes controversy, as we see Shawn sabotage the Undertaker's title defenses, adding injury to insult with chair shots to the head. And Taker clearly has had enough, signing Michaels' death warrant, forcing HBK to pay the ultimate price, as he will rest in peace. We then go backstage with Shawn, where McMahon asks him for a response to the video, with Michaels responding that Vince would like to see him get his rear end kicked, but HBK is too jacked for that. Shawn continues he hasn't slept in 13 years. So you have been taking drugs.
Yeah, 13 years.
So he won't be resting in peace for anybody. So the mystique of the dead man will come to an end. Why? Because he can, for God's sake.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what?
He's been up for 13 years, so
yeah,
it makes perfect sense.
Words lose meaning. Your brain is not rested.
He hasn't slept in 13 years because he's been up all night.
So we go to our 7th match. The Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, versus The Undertaker. And as Michaels enters the arena, some fans throw trash, so he responds with crotch chops.
Mm-hmm.
And he also mocks sucking a penis. Did you guys catch that?
Well, that's when his pyro doesn't work.
Oh.
He does a jack-off motion.
Okay. All right. I saw him do the crotch chop, and then I also saw him do one of these, and I was like,
oh, I didn't see that.
It's crazy. I was like, he does but as if his hand was around a log. He's just like, I was like, that's a wild choice, Shawn. Maybe you haven't slept in 13 years for real.
Maybe he's trying to show people that he's really not that gay because he doesn't even know how to hold it right.
Yeah. And no one has one that big.
So Shawn hides behind the ref to begin, only for Taker to just knock the ref out.
Love it.
So Michaels tries to leave. Sarge meets him on the rampway to stop him.
Oh, by the way, ref pump.
Yeah, I'm like, Sarge, your referee just got taken down by The Undertaker, and you're worried about Shawn trying to leave the match.
I mean, he's going to send another ref out.
The dead man then picks up the unconscious ref and just throws him out onto HBK.
It's fucking awesome.
Followed by Undertaker taking Shawn to the house set, where Michaels tries to escape through the door, but it doesn't open.
It's so horror movie. It's awesome.
Allowing
so
Taker to press slam the Heartbreak Kid on the ramp and dump him into the flower bed. And the dead man punches Shawn, sending him rolling down the ramp back to ringside, running Michaels into the ring steps and choking him with a cable cord, before tossing HBK into the guardrail and over the Spanish announce table.
Ay, Dios mío.
Watch out, Tito.
They return to the ring where Undertaker continues the punishment with turnbuckle smashes and elbow drops. He makes a cover, only for there to not be an official. So Taker keeps it up with right hands and a whip to the turnbuckle for a flare flip out to the floor.
Oh, and boy, does he go for it.
Earl Hebner finally arrives to start the match. So Shawn asks for a disqualification, but the ref just tells him to get in the ring. So literally the match hadn't even started.
No, yeah, it's like I have a half a page of notes and then the mark where I wrote the bell rings.
Michael sneaks into the ring to chop block the dead man's knee, looking to take control with right hands and hard whips, followed by mounted punches. The Undertaker just keeps shoving him off to the mat before grabbing the throat, only for the Heartbreak Kid to kick the knee to release the hold.
That chop block softened it up.
Shawn heads up top, but he gets caught in the gut on his way down, followed by a clothesline that sends him to the floor, with Taker nailing him with right hands to keep Michaels from returning to the ring, only to shoulder block the midsection and fly in with a sunset flip. But the dead man stays up and choke lifts HBK.
Double-handed.
Before tossing him atop a turnbuckle and the ropes to crotch Shawn, followed by a clothesline for a 2 count. And Undertaker works the arm before going for old school. But Michaels knocks him down, causing Taker to crotch himself, then knocking him out to the floor, where HBK delivers a baseball slide and a slingshot plancha, only for the dead man to catch and ram him into the ring post multiple times.
Posted.
Shawn's tossed in, where the Undertaker stays on the attack with right hands and a back body drop for a near fall, only for Michaels to try and escape to the floor. But Taker grabs him by the tights.
Ass spot.
To keep him from leaving.
I mean, hey, anything's better than seeing Ric Flair's ass again.
The dead man telegraphs another back body drop, so the Heartbreak Kid nails a desperation swinging neckbreaker before rolling out to the floor, where he grabs a chair. And Shawn goes to use it, but the Undertaker kicks it away with a big boot, before picking the chair up himself, only from the ref to stop Taker from taking advantage.
He just grabs it from behind.
Followed by Michaels drop kicking them from behind to knock the ref out.
So he knocks Taker into the ref, but the chair is in between the back of Taker and the front of Earl Hebner. Very fun spot. A ref bump.
The Heartbreak Kid with a leaping forearm and right hands before heading up top for a pair of flying elbow drops. Makes the cover, with the ref making a slow count.
God damn it,
for
Earl.
2.
Of course, Shawn Michaels does just about everything well in the ring, but those, maybe it's the angle, but those elbow drops look great.
Rick Rude then appears at ringside and tosses brass knuckles to Shawn, who clocks the dead man with them, making another cover, but the ref is still hurt.
Still selling.
Rude leaves as Triple H and Chyna bring Jack Doan out to make the count for a near fall. So Michaels then just knocks him out, allowing the trio to work over Undertaker, whipping him into the ring steps, choking him with cables, and stomping on him.
This is wild and fun, and like, I just love that they're like, all right, before the bell rings, I'm punching the ref. It's like, oh, they sent a new ref out here? We're going to deck him immediately.
Yep. Just don't count.
Yeah.
Speaking of, HBK helps Hebner to his feet, only to just ram him into the turnbuckle again,
Yes.
allowing them to continue the punishment on Taker until he begins to fire up with right hands. But he's knocked out to the floor by a clothesline from Shawn.
I almost, changed the tagline of the show to Ref Bump City.
Hunter and Chyna nail the dead man from behind, but he no-sells, grabbing Triple H by the throat until Michaels flies off the top with a double axe handle. More chokes and stomps before rolling Undertaker into the ring, where HBK's whip is reversed, allowing Taker to grab him for a tombstone. But Shawn escapes out the back and goes for sweet chin music, only for the dead man to catch the foot. Undertaker then takes Michaels to a corner to deliver more strikes, taking the brass knucks out of his trunks and clocking Shawn before hiding the brass knucks in his own tights.
It's so fun.
Now Hunter has jumped on the apron, so Taker knocks him down before returning to his opponent for a 2 count, as Hebner is still dazed. The dead man then chokeslams the ref out of frustration, followed by a jumping clothesline to Michaels, when Tim White would just run down and throw out the match.
Someone has to do it. They took him to truly 7 ref bumps maybe. Hebner took at least 2, maybe 3.
Post-match, Undertaker has the Heartbreak Kid by the throat, but lets him go to grab Triple H, who's on the apron again, lifting and throwing him onto Shawn before tossing Hunter back out to the floor. All while Michaels has set up to deliver sweet chin music once Taker turns back towards him. And this knocks the dead man into the ropes where he gets tied up, allowing Chyna to bring a chair in, while Triple H decks the new ref.
Tim White. What did Tim White do?
The Heartbreak Kid goes to use the chair, The Undertaker kicks the steel back into Shawn's face
Not the money maker.
before releasing himself from the ropes to attempt a tombstone, only for Hunter to attack from behind to stop him. They double-team Taker as officials run in to break it up.
They gotta stop this crazy shit.
But Michaels attacks them while the dead man hits the tombstone on Triple H.
Yeah.
Other officials and wrestlers arrive to quell the chaos, with HBK, Hunter, and Chyna trying to escape, only for Undertaker
Yes.
to dive over the ropes onto everybody.
All the wrestlers on the floor. I popped so hard where Undertaker was just like, what the fuck do I have to lose? And just fucking took a leap of faith to the floor on like 8 guys. So awesome.
I can picture him doing like that little spin. Just Kobe.
Yeah.
Kofi. God, why am I saying the wrong name?
Kingston. It's okay.
Kofi free fall.
The trio make their way up the ramp, while Taker heads back into the ring, throwing a chair down in frustration before posing, while Vince says his good nights, and we fade to black. I do have one fun fact here.
Let's hear it.
This is the last time we will see the In Your House set until NXT brings it back in 2020.
I was wondering about that because I was like, oh, they're still doing this? Because I felt like the last show might not have had it, but probably wrong. But I was like, oh, I thought we were past the In Your House set.
Well, the last show was Canada, right?
Oh, good point.
Yeah.
So they probably didn't bother with it. So that was probably why.
Or maybe Canadian houses just look different than American houses.
I'm sure they look moderately similar.
No, I watched Schitt's Creek and they lived in a motel, so who knows?
So I ask you, gentlemen, what's your overall thoughts of Ground Zero in your house?
This is great. This is I guess there's 2 things I don't like about it. But the good stuff about it is like an A+ house show. But I mean, the main event is maybe as fun as like crazy as like silly shit gets, where it's like just like I said, Ref Bump City. I was smiling like an idiot as this whole match just took place, and the performances were great by everybody, at least in that main event. And I think the main event sent me home very happy. But there's 2 things we could cut from this show.
And that is?
I mean, come on. Putski and Max Mini.
Well, the Putski thing, if he doesn't get hurt, that match is probably better than...
Yeah.
The match, I mean, I don't think the match was bad.
It's probably not going any more than like 3 or 4 more minutes.
Yeah. But I thought it was good, but it's one of the things where it's like, it's not memorable because of the ending, and no one's made me care about any of the guys. So it's totally fine. But I don't know, I had a blast with this show. That last match, man, I was just cheesing the whole time.
I mean, kind of along the same lines there. It had some fun moments. It had some ishk. Scrolled by and saw Crush's name and got angry.
Oh, yeah. I was higher on that than you guys were, but I'm not mad at you for not liking it.
It's not that I hated it. I just hate him. So
yeah. When
he's in something, it makes it difficult to watch it and trying not to watch him at the same time. Yeah, the main event was fun. I had fun with the Bret and
Patty.
Yes. I'm like, what the fuck is his name?
The Patriot. Come on. How can you forget it?
The Masked American.
Yeah.
At one point, he was unmasked in his little interview. They just didn't show his face.
Well, yeah, they did the interview a criminal on like Dateline.
Yes. His face has been hidden to protect his identity because he is too much of an American to be seen by a fellow American.
It is weird to mask a face. Like,
that's your gimmick.
Luch is different.
Maybe that's where he started.
I bet this dude is like super fucking ugly.
You think so?
Yeah.
That's kind of the thing with like.
Or he just.
Let's see.
Or he just didn't want to deal with the.
Patriot.
Being able to not be able to go out in public at some point.
No.
Or another possibility is that they just needed a guy, so they put a mask on him and called him the Patriot.
He's been around for a long time, though.
Well, yeah, but if they take the mask off of him and they can use him as a different character without having him be the Patriot.
Type looks so similar, so
true.
Del Wilkes.
But
I mean, there's photos of him out there. He's not a bad looking guy.
I don't know if I've ever seen.
I definitely haven't seen him, but that's one of the things. Like, most
of the pictures I've seen of him is from his like college football days. But
like bands and masks are typically ugly. Like the guys in Slipknot, horrific looking. And it's like, that's why you wear scary masks.
Show me that there's
also your cornballs.
I mean, that one's difficult to tell because his face is covered by aviators, but.
Oh yeah, I know he's a good looking guy.
He's a good looking dude.
Maybe he's just he might just be a huge Wrestling 2 fan.
Here we go.
It's very true.
Oh yeah, he looks like a badass.
Mm-hmm.
So this main event definitely makes up for the mid-card dragging, but it doesn't make the show worth watching.
Because of the DQ.
I would probably just skip this show because our two main eventers will have better matches in their career versus each other.
Absolutely, but I think that Shawn and Undertaker would be a really fun match to watch while you eat a sandwich. If you just need 16 minutes to kill.
If you just watch this match, it's fun.
Yeah,
watching these two professionals that have kick-ass matches just have fun with each other in a match.
I can see this match having like potential replay for me, where I'm just like, you know what, I want to run that one back. Probably won't happen anytime soon, but at the moment, I feel like I might remember it fondly.
If this was indeed the first time that they fought each other, then watch this one. Watch their WrestleMania finales. Watch the growth and difference between them from their first match to their last match, and then skip that tag team catastrophe that came many years later when they decided that they were going to try and make some
that never happened
money.
Oh, you're talking about balding Shawn and Hunter getting hurt for 15 minutes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. Where's the smart marks at? All right, fuck you.
I think it's time we smark it up. So what are some of the best moments of this show?
Undertaker entering the ring and immediately decking the ref.
Yes. It was like ref bump, ref bump, ref bump, ref bump.
I'm doing a Sabu impression.
Yes.
I called that last week. But...
Yeah.
Let me scroll back here.
Just the Undertaker out of fucks to give was very fun.
Once again, I'm going to give it up to Patriot.
Yeah.
I know he's not winning this match. But
I think the match was good.
But he puts it out there and makes you want to believe that he can, but even though he's not going to.
And he doesn't, I mean, there's guys that we have, like there's wrestlers that we love, that we watched make some pretty inexcusable botches last week, and the Patriot didn't have anything nearly that embarrassing. And he dug his soul deep and put in the work.
The Max Benny comedy spot of the biting of the ass and running around the ring to Lawler's laugh. It's funny.
Jerry's kid.
It didn't do much for me, but I always appreciate.
I think Max Benny was really good.
He was, it was really impressive.
Oh, yeah.
The shit he did. He was just doing Ranas out of nowhere, and
Of the little matches that we've seen over the years, this one was definitely one of the better ones, just as far as entertainment-wise, because they actually moved instead of just doing the same little, I'm going to bite your ass, I'm going to bite your ass, I'm going to kick you in the butt, I'm going to kick you in the butt, I'm going to pull your clown hair, I'm going to pull your clown hair.
I think the big difference here is that, like, one of them was, like, much bigger, so, like, the little guy could flip around, so it's almost like a light heavyweight versus like a heavyweight, and it's like, they can work together. One guy can like take the bumps, and the other one can be the foil for like, the athleticism of the other. So it resembled more of a traditional wrestling match than most little matches.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed Shawn and Taker. I enjoyed Bret and Patriot. The Stone Cold stunner on JR and JR's reaction afterwards during his little interview backstage, I thought was great. Something Stone Cold's got the little hoop earring going on now, and it's just kind of added that little extra
Oh, now he's
swagger.
He's feeling himself.
Yep.
He's buying jewelry. It might just be silver, but it's jewelry.
He's got that, silver hoop there, and it makes him smile more because he's got that bling.
Yeah.
It's not as heavy as a belt to carry, so he can just walk around and kick people. I mean, I enjoyed the Goldust Pillman match, even though just for what it was.
It's like the show goes down smoothly, but like
in comparison to the typical in your house, there's more filler than there should be, just because
we added some time.
Yeah, had we removed the 1 hour worth of filler stuff, it would have been a decent show.
And you're down your...
Well, I shouldn't say a decent show. It would have been a really good show, but it's more of just an okay show.
You're also down your hottest star, and he's on the poster. Which is kind of crazy. I mean, he's here, but...
most disappointing?
I would say that I viewed the Taker and Shawn matches. Shawn has to get through Taker to get to Bret, and I really didn't expect it to be a DQ, which... The way the match was set out and everything, like, I'm not pissed about it, but I'm like, okay, well, are we going to get another Taker and Shawn match, or are we going to move on? I don't really know, and I don't know that I'd be mad either way, but I just kind of figured they're like, okay, well, Shawn will beat Taker with some kind of heel tactic, and instead we just get a, like, comedy of foils. Which is one of the main reasons I like the match, because I think this match is funny, but not laugh out loud funny, just like gleefully entertaining.
It's like Tom and Jerry.
Yeah, exactly. Very good way to put it.
I am going to nitpick the main event.
Do it.
For like one spot.
Okay.
And it was easily correctable, but it did bother me while watching it. Hebner gets knocked out. It's literally the first time that he gets knocked out. Shawn does the flying elbows, and we get the slow count. But then he gets the brass knuckles and hits Undertaker, and the ref's not there. But the ref never gets bumped again in between the slow count.
Yeah, good call.
And the no count.
Slow count, it just took everything
out of me.
Uh-huh.
It's like I said. It's like the most minuscule little thing.
Well, all Shawn had to do was just kick,
like literally
Hebner
just stomp on him one time,
and then he'll roll to the floor. Yeah, good call. Yeah, I didn't clock it, but
you count too slow, kick him in the head.
Your logic's there. Yeah, I mean, hit him with the brass. Like, I got time now. I clocked him in the head.
I mean, I honestly don't like. Other than the last two matches, I don't like this show.
Like I said, it went down easy, but like I can't say that I had any strong or even positive feelings about any of the other matches, but they just kind of happened. I didn't hate the three-way. I expected to despise it, so like I had such low expectations that when I found it watchable, it was rose-colored glasses.
I mean, literally, the Minis match is probably my third favorite match on this show.
I don't know. I do not feel the same way, but
that tells you how
fair
much
to feel that way.
Yeah. Just.
I
know by no means does this match mean anything, but it was at least a fun match.
Yeah. And this is like
a quick 8 minutes. I think they got 9 minutes, which I'm sure was probably about 2 minutes more than they were probably scheduled to have, if not more, because of the injury.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the show.
But this is not a top tier in your house by any means.
Which also, I think Bret and Patriot probably had to take on more of the extra time
than Shawn
than anybody else.
Well,
because there was a point in that match when it definitely felt like we should be going to the finish,
and they
didn't go to the finish.
Well, Shawn and Taker, it's like there's
Shawn and Taker is that was a false finish completely through the entire.
Yeah, it's like how much we can't really, like, this thing's already it. We got to cut or add to other matches, but this is such a. There's so much complicated, it's like stuff and things that have to go right in this match for it to work, and they all went off really well. You pointed out the cinema sin of it all, but It's definitely the most fun match on the show, I think.
Oh, definitely. Anything else disappointing to you guys?
I mean, the Putski injury, just because.
I mean, I feel bad for that guy.
Yeah. Just
because, especially on such a weird move.
Yeah. A weird move like that, and making a comeback after so long, just to see him get taken out that quickly.
I mean,
it sucks.
Not to, point out the obvious, but most disappointing for me is that they lengthened In Your House, which I'm okay with if you have the stuff for the card. They didn't have it here, so we added, we made it a longer show with no appreciable value.
Yeah.
So, that I find really disappointing.
I mean, I'm sure the decision to go to 3 hours was made 6 months prior, and he thought that he was going to have his mid-card sorted out. Mm-hmm. But, why not put Hunter in a match?
Yeah.
Why not?
It would not have hurt to have Hunter in a match.
I mean, having the 4-way obviously hurts, but, is it Mankind and Hunter? They're on the show, but why aren't they in a match?
Exactly.
Yeah, you also could have had a pretty funny match.
Have them fight Dude Love.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was about to say. It's Hunter and Mankind, they've been having a thing. Watching Hunter get angry and annoyed at the fact that Dude Love is acting like he's a different person could be pretty entertaining for about 8 to 12 minutes, depending on how they work it.
How about best performer of the night? I mean, the dive over the ropes makes me go Taker.
I mean,
it's the first time he does this move now for the next
forever,
27 years.
For the rest of his career.
We've seen Taker become a little bit more active, and here he starts the match. He jump starts the match. It's you never see that from Undertaker. He's moving quick, and he's pissed. And as much as I talked about having some issues with the humanization of certain characters, it looks good on Taker here in this match.
It's just that slow evolution.
I just don't love hearing him cry about his family. But it all works out in the end. It's still better than Goldust being sad.
Is he crying about his family? Or is everyone else crying about his family?
Yes. He's being tortured with memories of his family.
Yeah.
Accused as a killer, and now supposedly his brother is alive that's been dead for all these years.
Russo!
Burned up in the fire. It's a toughie, because, Taker had his moments. Him and Shawn together are always magic. And Austin made the most of his little dealy.
Can't give it to Austin.
No.
I won't allow it.
I can do what I want.
I won't allow it.
Give it fucking Torito if I want to.
He's going to get it. He's going to get them all. He's gotten plenty of them for the last year. We're all oh, yeah.
It's because he holds the audience in the palm of his hand.
Absolutely.
By just a little smirk.
That's all they want. And the corporate gods, the Sergeant Slaughter, the Vince McMahon, the Jim Ross, they won't let you have it. They're evil. But he wants to do it.
How about most surprising? I'm going to go Austin on this one because it's the first time that he stutters someone in management.
True.
Oh, yeah. I would say just midget match. Could not have imagined that would be on this card in 97. I was wildly surprised by that. That's a good, because we were in Ref Bump City tonight. We're on our way to Stunner City, where everybody's eating.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Ross cussed, but we get used to that a little bit.
I guess Marlena on a pole. It's we're doing this angle.
I
know we're about to get trashier, but this is we're starting to pass the Rubicon again, where it's they've been dabbling in trash, but that's the trashiest thing they've done, edging up to the Attitude Era. It's you get his wife for a month, and the love child
that's
thing.
An old wrestling.
It is an old.
Gimmick,
it's an old thing, but it's
my
just
slave.
it's the ebb and flow of it all.
you're going to be my butler, you're going to be my maid, you're going to be my housekeeper, you're going to be my personal driver.
This one was just a little bit more lurid, I think.
Well, it's because they have a dating history.
Oh, yeah.
And a possible love child.
Yeah, the innuendo of it all.
Yeah, I don't really have any other surprisings.
Yeah, it's a pretty mediocre show, but I don't think it was a difficult watch.
No.
And now for a look back even further into the history of wrestling.
The dusty finish.
Shinya Hashimoto had held the IWGP Heavyweight Championship for over a year when he made his way to Fukuoka, Japan on May 3rd, 1995 to face Keiji Muta at Wrestling Dontaku. The challenger would connect with a series of drop kicks to start, but would miss a handspring back elbow when Hashimoto would move. The two would continue to trade strikes until they took the fight to the mat, with each man applying holds, forcing the other to make the ropes. They make it back to their feet with Hashimoto taking control with headbutts, kicks, neck breakers, and pile drivers, before going to the top for an elbow drop. But Muta would avoid and deliver a flash elbow drop, a handspring back elbow, and a bulldog. Keiji would keep up the attack with a missile dropkick, Frankensteiner, and a German suplex, only to have Shinya roll out of the way of a moonsault. Hashimoto would go back to his vicious kicks before attempting several DDTs, but Muta would block until Shinya could wear him down to finally nail the move. Hashimoto would drag Keiji to his feet and goes for a brainbuster, only for Muta to reverse into a release dragon suplex, before quickly nailing a pair of moonsaults for the win, to become IWGP Heavyweight Champion for the second time. Keiji would defend the belt for the rest of 1995, when a rival promotion would send their biggest star to New Japan's biggest show.
Bum, bum, bum.
Next week, WrestleFest. 50 years of funk.
What the hell is this?
Terry Funk versus Flash Funk.
It's Terry Funk's retirement match.
With the Funkadelics at ringside.
No, don't say that to me. It's his
retirement match.
Yeah, it's a retirement match. Terry Funk retired when the Lord took him. He was not retired before that.
That's what all wrestlers are.
Yeah,
they don't never retire until they're dead.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it is funny because oh yeah, Terry Funk's retirement match, cool. That's what we thought he was doing when he first showed up in ECW.
As Matt would say.
Yeah. Music from this week's show is Blasted by Jim Johnston, and Undertaker was standing tall at the end of the match, so we're going to play his music.
Yeah.
Graveyard Symphony, version 2.
He gets it just for the dive.
Also by Jim Johnston. If you like this episode or any of our other ones, please go out there, rate and review us on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, or wherever you find your podcasts at. Do as Michael says.
5 stars or no stars. Be a pal.
If you have any questions, comments, concerns.
You ever been to Amarillo? Or just Texas in general? What would you suggest that we have from Texas? I've never been to Amarillo.
I have.
By morning?
By night as well.
What's in Amarillo? Is that where the Rangers Stadium is?
No, that's Dallas, Arlington.
Okay, Arlington. That's what I was thinking. I got that my age.
Amarillo is straight west.
Okay.
On I-40.
Yeah.
You have to go through Amarillo to get to New Mexico.
I got you.
Yep. I've been to New Mexico, but I've never been to Amarillo.
So you've been through Amarillo?
I flew.
Okay.
I flew to El Paso, so I don't know if Amarillo is after El Paso or before El Paso, but flew to El Paso when I was 10, and then we drove from El Paso to White Sands.
Because El Paso's closer to the border.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I've never been to Amarillo.
Further south, too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, tell me some stuff to have from Texas. I mean, we're right across the border from
West
Texas. Yes.
We're looking for some West Texas stuff.
West Texas cuisine.
Cuisine or beverage or dessert or specialty snack or something like that
hardtack, and a bullet for dessert.
Sun-baked Laffy Taffy.
Sun-baked Laffy Taffy. Ew.
If you have any of those things, you can always email us at WrestlingHistoryX@gmail.com or find us on X at WrestlingHistoX. That's Wrestling HISTOX. We'll talk to you next week.
I still call it Twitter. Laters!